It's Whitehead speaking once again from the island of Patmos, just outside the cave where John received his revelation. The book of Revelation contains a lot of things that people struggle to understand, but one of the things that comes across so clearly is how Jesus is Lord over his church. He walks among the 7 candlesticks. He knows each of those churches intimately. He knew which ones were truly alive and which ones were struggling. And for John, who came from the Church of Revelation, it must have been very difficult as God revealed to him how he saw the church in Ephesus. John had lived in Ephesus, and afterwards he actually died in Ephesus. He took Mary, the mother of Jesus, to Ephesus as he took care of her by church tradition. And Jesus looked at Ephesus, commended them. They rejected false apostles. They were working, they were doing many good things for God. But heartbreakingly for John, who was the apostle of love, who the word love fills John's gospel, fills 1 John particularly, God's assessment of the church in Ephesus was that they had left their first love, that he was considering removing their candlestick, his presence, from their midst. Yet they were working, they had it seemingly sound theology, they understood and rejected false teaching. But somewhere in that they had lost their passionate love for the one who had saved them. And I think in the Western church today we have so many material assets, internet, media, so many things. We can prepare excellent messages, deliver them well, communicate effectively. But one of the messages from John here in Patmos, I believe, is let's make sure we keep our first love. One translation says, "You've turned your back on my love." Let's make sure that the great command, the greatest command, to love the Lord with all our hearts, all our minds, all our soul, all our strength, always pervades over whatever ministry and calling and purpose that God gives us. I want to encourage you to really follow John, the footsteps of John. He was, as he said in his gospel, the disciple that Jesus loved. Why did he describe himself like that? Because Jesus loved all the disciples. But you could say he was the one that really pushed in to the love of God, really received it as the youngest apostle. He was the one that leaned on the breast of Jesus, that knew him well, that picked up his heartbeat. And of course Jesus loves all of his followers, all of his disciples. But we can be those who get so caught up in the works of the ministry that, like the Ephesian Church, we can be doing well, we can be outwardly successful, but have we lost our first love? Are we still pushing into the heart of God? You know, by tradition, John went back to Ephesus and died outside the city walls there. And his closing remarks, his closing sermons were always love the brethren, love one another. And his dying remarks were love one another. John is the apostle of love. I think of him a lot when I come to this island. In his gospel, in 1 John, it's just crammed full of that. The most important of the 3 things that go into eternity: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. John's, I believe, God preserved his life to write a gospel with perhaps a more thought through philosophical approach, but also a gospel that was permeated and emphasized the vital importance of love, to love God and to love one another. The Ephesian Church had missed something. While I'm here in Patmos, I think about John, I think about his heart, I think about as he grew in years from being the youngest apostle to being the only surviving apostle, how love prevailed, how love became that constant theme in his writings and in his teachings. May we never lose our first love. God bless you.